It will be rooted in me, in the depth of your renewed trust, and it will rise stronger than before. This place, this exact one where things once fell apart, is about to become the very location where your heart begins to beat with new rhythm again. The heaviness that lingered without name will start to lift. The numbness that crept in quietly will begin to thaw. You'll find yourself smiling without forcing it. You'll hear laughter rise from your soul that sounds unfamiliar because it's coming from the version of you that was formed through perseverance, surrender, and grace. This restoration isn't about pretending things never hurt. It's about showing you that even what once brought pain can become a source of joy again, when touched by my hand. I never intended for you to settle into that loss. I allowed the pause not to punish you, but to prepare you. Now that your roots have grown deeper, your joy can rise taller. I'm restoring it in such a way that you won't fear losing it again. It won't come with anxiety. It will return fragile or scattered. It will return anchored and overflowing. The tears you cried in that space have not only been counted, they've been collected, and I am using them to water what's about to bloom. This restoration will surprise you. It will catch you in ordinary moments. It will unfold gently, then powerfully. You'll walk into familiar spaces and feel different. You'll interact with people or ideas that once triggered sadness and find peace instead. This isn't a trick your mind is playing, it's the power of healing becoming reality. I've waited for this moment. I've watched as you continued forward, even when part of your joy stayed behind. And now I reunite you with what was always meant to remain part of you. No more ignoring that part of your heart. I'm entering it, filling it, and healing it. What the enemy tried to extinguish will now burn bright again. The very place that once felt like your ending will become the evidence of your renewal. So open the door to this space. Let me in fully. The joy you thought you lost forever is not only returning, it's about to overflow. Throughout your life, you've encountered moments where words landed on your spirit like stones. Some were said out loud, others were whispered behind your back, and a few were never spoken, but carried in attitudes that made you feel less than whole. Words were used to define you, to limit you, to put you in boxes you didn't belong in. Some words were spoken by people who didn't know better. Others came from those you trusted. You've carried the weight of labels that were never yours. You've been pushed into roles that diminished your voice and identity. There were things said about your future, your potential, your character spoken out of bitterness, jealousy, or blindness that lodged themselves in your memory and shaped how you saw yourself. Right now, I am breaking every single one of them. Those words that tried to curse what I called blessed no longer have the authority to linger over your life. They are being dismantled, stripped of power, and removed from your atmosphere. I am not just undoing their impact, I am reversing the lies they tried to plant. No curse stands in the presence of my truth. No insult can take root when I have already declared who you are. Even the silent agreements you made with those lies out of fatigue, out of shame, or out of fear are being broken now. You are no longer required to carry the echo of their voices when I have given you a voice of your own. You were never defined by the opinions of others. You are not a reflection of their rejection. You are a reflection of my intention. I created you with purpose, with vision, with identity that cannot be rewritten by false narratives. Every time you've been made to feel like a mistake, I have remained the truth in your story. Every curse that tried to form a barrier around your potential is being shattered, and not one of them can follow you into where I'm taking you. You'll begin to notice the difference. The heaviness around your name will lift. The inner conflict that kept you second-guessing yourself will dissolve. The pressure to shrink to fit someone else's comfort will no longer rest on your shoulders. I am clearing the residue of every insult, judgment, and false label. You will no longer hear them in your thoughts when you try to take bold steps. You will no longer feel them weighing on your chest when you speak. I am giving you freedom from every spoken word that tried to curse what I designed. I am not just silencing the curses, I am blessing you in their place. Where words once tried to tear you down, my words are lifting you. Where shame tried to settle, peace is now rising. Where criticism created insecurity, I am placing confidence. You'll not only recover from the damage, you'll rise with clarity about who you really are. I am writing your internal language. The way you talk to yourself, the way you see yourself, the way you walk into rooms, all of it is changing. Because when I break a curse, I don't just remove the attack, I replace it with promise. You'll know that this freedom is real when you no longer flinch at the memory. When you no longer carry tension around those who once spoke against you. When you can hear your own voice again, restored, steady, sure. And from that place, you'll speak life into others who are still learning how to silence the same lies. You won't carry bitterness, you'll carry healing. Because I didn't just set you free for your own sake, I'm raising you to be a living answer to those who have endured the same wounds. So lift your head. The weight of their words is gone. Their voice no longer shapes your value. My truth now echoes louder, and it will never be silenced again. There have been long seasons where your presence seemed tucked away, where your efforts remained unseen and your impact unnoticed. You watched others step into their moments while you remained behind the scenes, wondering if you were being overlooked or if your time had somehow passed. You didn't stop walking, but you began to wonder if all the silent work, all the quiet growth, and all the faithful endurance would ever lead to anything visible. There were moments when the stillness felt like delay, and the obscurity began to feel like rejection. You honored me in the background while part of you longed to be brought into the light. What you experienced as hiding was actually holy preservation. I was not withholding opportunity, I was maturing character. I wasn't keeping you small, I was strengthening you for what's ahead. The layers I've been building in you beneath the surface will now support the weight of the visibility I'm about to release. This is not a rushed unveiling. This is the precise moment where what I've cultivated in private becomes evident in public. The time has come for the light I placed within you to shine beyond the borders that once contained you. The silence trained your discernment. The hidden place shaped your identity. The quiet seasons forced your roots to grow deep, and now that your foundation is strong, I am bringing you into view not to entertain, not to impress, but to establish influence rooted in depth and truth. I reveal you now, not because you need to be seen, but because I've prepared you to be effective. You are not being exposed to the spotlight, you are being positioned for impact. What was once concealed for protection is now released for purpose. You won't need to announce yourself. I will do the lifting. I will guide the timing. I will determine the place. Your role is to continue walking in obedience, to carry what I've taught you, and to stay grounded in the humility that grew in the shadows. The fruit of your hidden faithfulness is about to bloom, and the fragrance of your surrender will reach places you didn't think were possible. You are not the same person who entered the season of hiddenness. You've grown in silence. You've become wiser in stillness. You've let go of needing constant affirmation. You've learned to rest in my presence when no one else understood what I was doing in your life. And now, as you begin to step forward, you will do so with confidence that doesn't depend on applause. You will carry a quiet strength that can't be shaken by attention or threatened by comparison. Your value was never in the spotlight, it was always in the substance I formed in you. As I bring you forward, don't try to recreate what others are doing. I didn't hide you so you could copy what's already visible. I kept you close so I could give you something different, something authentic, something weighty, something eternal. Let your authenticity be your introduction. Let your anointing speak for you. Let the years of private surrender shape every public step. The unveiling will not be chaotic, it will be marked by peace, clarity, and divine timing. You are not rising by accident. You are not stepping into this moment by chance. I planned this long before you questioned your place. I saw your name written in places you haven't walked into yet. I whispered your purpose into the atmosphere before the foundation of the world. And I waited for this moment not just so others could see you, but so they could see me in you. So walk forward without fear. You've been hidden for a reason. And now, you are being revealed with purpose. You didn't understand it at the time. The opportunity looked perfect, the timing felt right, and your heart was open. You had prayed, prepared, and positioned yourself for something that felt aligned, and yet, without warning, the door shut. Sometimes it was gradual, other times it was sudden. But each time it happened, it left behind confusion and the quiet ache of unfulfilled expectation. You wrestled with questions that had no immediate answer. Was it something you missed, something you did wrong, or simply a case of bad timing? You mourned what you thought was yours. You grieved the moment that slipped away, and you quietly carried the disappointment as a reminder of what didn't come to pass. But what you perceived as loss was actually me protecting you from what you couldn't see. I don't close doors without purpose. I don't withhold access to punish, I redirect to preserve. Not every open path leads to blessing. Not every appealing offer carries favor. I saw what was hidden behind those closed doors. I knew the weight that would have drained you, the connections that would have distracted you, and the timing that would have crushed what I was still building in you. You didn't lose what was yours. I simply never gave you what would have cost you more than you were meant to pay. I allowed the denial not as rejection, but as redirection. I watched you cry over plans that would have led to unnecessary battles. I stood beside you while your heart processed a no that felt like silence. And I never stopped being near, not for 1 second. Even when you didn't hear my voice, I was still speaking through the boundaries I set. My love isn't proven only in what I give, it's also revealed in what I don't allow. If I had let you through every door you knocked on, your spirit would have been stretched thin in places that didn't honor what I've placed inside you. Now you're beginning to see it. The peace you're carrying today would have been absent in those places. The growth you've experienced wouldn't have been possible under the weight of something I never called you to hold. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're actually right on time, because I've been guiding you with more than just yeses. I've been guiding you through holy restraint. What didn't open wasn't failure. It was divine filtration. I know how hard it was to let go. I know how long you held on to the hope that it might still turn around. But I want you to release the pain of that closed door now, not in regret, but in relief. You don't need to keep wondering why. You don't need to revisit that moment with heaviness. I've already handled what was on the other side, and what I'm opening for you now will make sense of what didn't open then. The clarity you longed for is arriving, not just in understanding, but in fulfillment. There are new doors forming in places you haven't even looked yet. They will require you to force your way in. Those will open at the right moment, with the right people, for the right purpose. And this time, you'll walk through with peace, not pressure. You'll recognize the difference between what looks good and what's actually God. That discernment wasn't learned through ease, it was developed in the seasons where you trusted me without explanation. Let the door close. Let the chapter end. Let the space that once felt like a missed opportunity become a monument of my protection. Because what I'm preparing for you now doesn't require striving, it only requires trust. And when it opens, you'll walk through it knowing that no door I close is the end. It's only the beginning of something I've reserved just for you. There have been days when your efforts felt like they were scattered into the wind. You've worked with diligence, poured yourself into plans, given your best to tasks that seemed to carry no reward. At times, your labor felt like it went unnoticed, your creativity overlooked, and your consistency underappreciated. You've wondered if your work mattered, if what you carried was truly useful, and whether all your planning was just movement without meaning. Despite those feelings, you kept showing up. You kept giving your time, your energy, and your heart into everything I placed before you. Whether the outcome was clear or not, you remained faithful in the process. And now, I bless the very hands that kept moving even when they trembled. Your labor has not been in vain. I have seen the unseen sacrifices, the unseen details, the unseen persistence. I'm not just watching, I'm placing my hand upon yours. This blessing is not only for what you've already built, it's for what you're about to start. From this moment forward, everything you place your hands on, when aligned with my purpose, will be met with my backing. No longer will you carry the burden of trying to produce outcomes by your own strength. Where your hands go, my favor will follow. You are not just a worker, you are a vessel. You are not simply creating, you are collaborating with heaven. What may seem small in your sight is carrying weight in mine. The seeds you've planted in private are about to break open with fruitfulness in places you least expect. Your hands are being strengthened not just physically but spiritually. I am infusing them with precision, wisdom, and grace. They will touch what others miss. They will repair what others abandoned. They will build what others called impossible. You will notice that things begin to shift not because you're trying harder, but because my presence will rest upon your work. There will be unusual ease where there was one struggle. There will be creative ideas that flow without exhaustion. The burden of performance will lift, and the clarity of purpose will take its place. I'm not only blessing the result, I'm blessing the process. I'm blessing the hours you commit, the intention you carry, and the excellence you pursue. You will move with both strategy and sensitivity to my voice. Let go of comparing your pace to others. Let go of wondering why some seem to advance faster. You are not behind. You are not lacking. You are now operating with my anointing upon your hands, and that changes everything. Where you once toiled in silence, you will now build with strength. Where you once doubted your capability, you will now move with confidence, not from your ability alone, but from the assurance that I am with you in every detail. This blessing isn't limited to one area. Whether you're building a business, a ministry, a home, a vision, or a new way of living, I will be in it. I'm blessing what you commit to me. I'm blessing what you steward with honor. I'm blessing what you don't rush but trust. And as you build, you won't do it empty-handed. I will supply what you need, open the doors you can't reach, and bring people alongside you whose hearts align with your purpose. So continue, not in anxiety but in peace. Your hands are no longer alone. They are blessed, supported, and directed. And everything they touch when guided by my spirit will flourish in its time. You've carried thoughts you've kept quiet for too long. There have been truths in your heart that remained unspoken, not because they weren't important, but because you questioned their value. You've watched others speak with confidence while you sat in silence, wondering if your words could make any difference. You've rehearsed things in your mind that never left your lips, buried encouragements before they reached others, and swallowed your insight in rooms that needed your perspective. At times, it wasn't fear of speaking, it was fear of being dismissed. And so, slowly, you taught yourself to speak less, to hold back, to wait for someone else to say what you carried inside. But I did not place that voice in you to stay hidden. The words I've planted in your spirit were not meant to remain in silence. They carry weight because they've been shaped by fire, formed through experience, and filled with compassion. Your voice had been refined, not just for conversation, but for influence. I am stirring a boldness in you now, not one rooted in volume, but in clarity. You will not need to shout to be heard. You will speak from the place I've matured within you, and your words will carry the authority of someone who has walked with me through valleys and storms. What you carry matters in this moment. The wisdom you've been collecting is not accidental. It's time-sensitive and needed. Your insight will open hearts. Your encouragement will interrupt despair. Your story will break silence in others who thought no one else could understand them. The way you speak, measured, truthful, filled with light, will unlock strength in places where only weakness has lived. This isn't about being loud, it's about being led. And I am leading you to speak now, in places where your voice will shift the atmosphere. You don't need to prepare some perfect version of what to say. You only need to release what I give you. The courage to speak doesn't come from your confidence, it comes from your connection to me. I will give you the words. I will go ahead of them. I will settle the hearts of those who need to hear what you release. There is purpose in your perspective. There is revelation in your language. There is power in your story. You don't have to fear being misunderstood. I will clarify what needs to be heard and protect what needs to be preserved. Do not underestimate your voice because others have tried to silence it before. The voices of doubt that used to hold you back no longer have permission to shape your posture. The lies that told you your presence didn't matter are losing their grip. I have created space for you not just to exist, but to speak life. And what you say will carry fruit. It will be rooted in love and bloom in unexpected places. You are not too late to start speaking truth. You are not too soft to make a difference. You are not too broken to communicate healing. What you declare in this season will ripple into places you haven't even stepped yet. So speak with the awareness that your words are more than sound, they are seeds. Seeds of hope. Seeds of restoration. Seeds of realignment. You've spent enough time second-guessing what you carry. Now, I say, release it. Let the words rise. Let the truth find air. Let the testimony you've lived speak into the lives of those still waiting to believe. There is nothing small about your voice when it's surrendered to me. I've waited for this moment, where your heart and your courage finally meet. And now that they have, I will amplify what you say, not for fame, but for freedom. You've been present in moments where your words were overlooked, your efforts dismissed, and your insight undervalued. You didn't speak to seek praise, but you hoped to be understood. Still, many didn't take time to hear you. They nodded without listening. They responded without absorbing. Some disregarded your discernment because it didn't come with titles. Others dismissed your presence simply because they believed someone else was more important. You stood quietly, aware of the weight you carried but unwilling to push for attention. You told yourself it didn't matter. But deep down, the rejection left a mark that you've carried silently. Now, I am shifting the atmosphere that once silenced you. What I've placed within you is no longer going to be ignored. The voice that was once cast to the side is about to echo in places where it was once dismissed. Not through pride or performance, but through the undeniable presence of my favor resting on your words. The people who once refused to listen will begin to recognize the truth you carry, not because you change how you speak, but because I'm changing how they hear. I'm adjusting the frequency of your influence so that when you speak, it is no longer an option to overlook you. I'm doing this not as revenge, but as redemption. This isn't about proving them wrong, it's about proving that I was always right to anoint you, even when no one saw it. You were never unqualified. You were never without value. You were simply ahead of the understanding of those around you. I was maturing your message while others were still measuring your appearance. And now that your voice has been refined by silence, tested through endurance, and filled with truth, I will send it back into those spaces, but this time, they will hear. You don't need to seek the spotlight. I will highlight what's necessary. You don't need to strive for acceptance. I will soften the hearts of those who once hardened themselves to your presence. Some will approach with apology, others with curiosity, and some may say nothing at all, but the shift will be evident. They will begin to ask for your opinion. They will begin to seek your counsel. They will begin to lean in, because I am placing weight on your words. Not because you are louder, but because you have remained true to me. There is a reason I didn't let you walk away, even when being ignored made it feel easier to give up. I knew this day would come. I knew the ones who misunderstood you would one day need the clarity I placed inside you. You will not need to revisit the pain, they will feel it in their own realization. But you will meet them with grace, because that is who you've become. You are not returning to the room bitter. You are re-entering with healing. This moment will be marked by recognition, not by revenge. Your wisdom will now be seen as essential. Your ideas will no longer be treated as optional. The very essence of who you are will carry a new presence, not because you've changed it, but because they've now been made ready to receive it. What I gave you remains unchanged, but I'm changing is the level of reception. So walk back in without fear. The silence you once endured is about to be replaced with attention that doesn't seek to flatter, but to understand. And as they begin to hear what they once ignored, you will know that I have fulfilled yet another promise, the one where I said I would not allow your voice to go unheard forever. There were moments when everything inside you felt like it was crumbling. You tried to hold it together, but the weight was too heavy, the pressure too intense, and the silence too long. In those moments, You didn't just feel weak, you felt defeated. You weren't only tired in your body, you were tired in your soul. You whispered prayers you didn't know how to finish. You walked through days that blurred together, surviving more than living. And when it felt like no one could see the battle, you wondered if it would ever end. You questioned whether anyone would ever understand what it cost you just to keep going. But what you felt breaking inside of you was not the end, it was the beginning of a breakthrough being born. I never looked away from those moments. I saw each time you chose not to give up when everything around you told you to stop. I listened to the quiet groans of your heart that you couldn't express with words. I watched you wipe away tears and still stand tall, not because you felt strong, but because you knew I hadn't released you to fall. Every hidden battle was building something in you. Every tear was watering something that hadn't yet risen. And now, that breakthrough is pushing through the surface. This breakthrough will not sneak in quietly. It will arrive with force. It will speak louder than the pain you endured. It will echo louder than the lies that circled your mind in the dark. It will rise up with a voice that overshadows every moment where hopelessness tried to convince you that nothing would ever change. I am not giving you a whisper of restoration, I'm bringing a flood. I'm not only ending the pressure, I'm releasing promise. You'll begin to see how everything started shifting when it looked like everything was falling apart. It was not chaos. It was the rearranging of what could no longer remain. What once looked like breakdown was actually the removal of what couldn't carry you forward. You're not being rebuilt into the same structure, you're being made new from the foundation upward. What I'm creating through your breakthrough will carry strength, resilience, and grace that wasn't there before. It won't just restore what was lost. It will multiply it. You will look at the space where you once struggled to stand and realize it became the platform on which you rose. You no longer need to be ashamed of where you broke. It is part of your rising. Your vulnerability did not disqualify you, it humbled you. And now, as the breakthrough comes, it will speak to the very places where you once whispered, "Will this ever get better?" And the answer will no longer be delayed. It will be live. It will be visible. It will be real. This is not just a new chapter, it's a new sound. The sound of chains coming off. The sound of doors opening. The sound of breath returning to places that once gasped for hope. And through it all, you will walk in a clarity that was only possible because of the breaking that brought you to me in your rawest, most honest form. So don't hide the pieces. Don't conceal the journey. What once looked like the end of your strength is now the birthplace of something greater. And when others hear your testimony, they will not remember the breakdown. They will hear the breakthrough shouting louder than anything that came before it. Some wounds were never spoken aloud. Not because they weren't painful, but because they were too deep for language. You carried them silently, through seasons of pretending you were fine, and moments where others assumed you were stronger than you felt. These hidden places of your heart weren't ignored by me. I watched you smile while struggling. I saw how certain memories would surface unexpectedly and bring with them a sudden weight you couldn't explain. I observed the way you buried your disappointment beneath responsibility and told yourself to keep moving, even when your soul needed rest. Now I am stepping into those quiet places and placing my hand on what you've tried to heal on your own. I never needed you to pretend you were okay to stay close to me. My presence was never dependent on your strength. I stayed with you in the moments you didn't share with anyone, when the pain felt too personal, too complicated, too layered to unpack. And even though you never said a word, I heard what your tears were saying. I felt what your heart was carrying when you laid down and stared into the stillness, wondering if peace would ever return. This healing isn't about revisiting the pain to relive it. It's about allowing me to access it so I can restore what was fractured. I am not rushing you. I am not pushing you to be okay. I am meeting you exactly where you are and beginning the slow, sacred work of mending what you thought would always remain broken. You don't need to fear this process. I will not overwhelm you. I will not expose you to embarrassment. What we walk through together will be covered in grace. The heaviness that sat in your chest like a quiet ache is beginning to lift, not because you're forgetting, but because I am carrying it now. You'll begin to sense peace in the very places where unrest once lived. Your reactions will soften. The tension that used to rise unexpectedly will begin to lose its grip. Where once there was defensiveness, you will feel security. Where you used to hide behind strength, you will discover gentleness that empowers you more than any performance ever did. This is not surface-level comfort. This is deep healing, the kind that changes how you see yourself, how you relate to others, and how you hear my voice. There is nothing in your heart that I'm unwilling to touch. The parts you've considered too messy, too wounded, too painful, they are the very areas I desire to make whole. You are not too far gone. You are not too complicated. You are not too late to be healed. I've waited patiently, never forcing, always ready. And now, because you're letting me in, the process begins to unfold gently, powerfully, and permanently. You'll start to notice freedom where shame once resided. The fear of being fully seen will fade because you'll know you're already fully known and still completely loved. You won't have to protect your heart from me. I never came to harm you. I came to heal you. And this healing is not temporary relief, it is full restoration. It will not require you to hide behind strength, it will invite you to rest in wholeness. Let it begin here, in this very moment. You don't have to bring me the polished version of your story. Bring me the real one. The parts with cracks. The chapters you skip. The emotions that still sting. I will not reject any of it. I will meet you there and I will stay until every hidden wound is made new. You've seen others step into seasons that looked similar to the ones you've been praying for. Their progress seemed effortless. Their victories appeared fast. You tried to celebrate them, and yet, in the quiet parts of your heart, you wondered when your moment would arrive. You've waited patiently, trusted fully, and yet there were times you questioned whether what I promised you would ever come to pass. You compared your delay to their progress, and asked if maybe you missed something or if your portion had been passed to someone else. These thoughts didn't come from lack of faith, they came from years of wondering how long is too long to wait. But what I've prepared for you is unlike anything anyone else has received. This blessing isn't a copy. It's not a recycled version of someone else's miracle. It has my fingerprint etched into every detail, designed specifically for you, for your life, for your calling, for your journey. What I'm releasing wasn't created in haste or formed out of pressure. It was constructed with care, shaped by timing, and reserved with intention. You haven't seen it yet, not because it wasn't ready, but because I was making sure everything around it would support it when it arrived. There is no one else who can carry what I've designed for you. No one else can occupy the space I've carved for your voice, your gifts, your heart. You were never meant to replicate someone else's life, you were meant to embody the unique rhythm I've placed within yours. This is why comparison will always leave you empty. You weren't overlooked. You were protected from stepping into something that looked like a blessing but wasn't built to hold your spirit. What's coming will fit not only externally, but internally. You won't have to contort yourself to stay in it. You won't have to compromise your identity to hold on to it. This blessing will feel like alignment, not effort. It will confirm what I've been whispering into your heart in private. You will not question whether it's from me, because every detail will reflect what I've already been preparing you to expect. It will carry peace, clarity, and unmistakable presence. You will walk into rooms you never fought for. You will hold opportunities you didn't campaign for. You will receive favor that no one else can take credit for. Not because you strategize your way in, but because I made space for you where there was none before. And those who see you walk into it will recognize that it couldn't have come from anyone but me. There is no competition when you understand the uniqueness of your calling. There is no scarcity in my kingdom. I don't run out of miracles. I don't recycle destiny. What is yours is sealed. What is yours is secure. And what is yours is coming not with confusion, but with confirmation. I don't bless to impress. I bless to reveal purpose. So release the anxiety that tells you it's too late. Dismiss the doubt that whispers it's too good to be true. You are not being handed a borrowed answer. You are receiving something that has been signed with the imprint of heaven. It will not crumble. It will not be counterfeit. It will not come with strings attached. It will come marked by grace and infused with intention. And when you hold it, when you finally step into what has your name written by my hand, you'll realize why the wait had to be long, why the shaping had to be deep, and why it could never be anyone else's story but yours. There have been times you've walked into places with a heart full of vision but felt the weight of being overlooked. You didn't want recognition for pride's sake, but because you longed to be understood, included, and valued. You showed up. You offered what you carried, but it often went unnoticed. You served faithfully behind the scenes, gave generously in silence, and kept showing up when it seemed like no one even realized you were there. You began to question whether your presence truly mattered, whether your efforts had any impact, whether your voice had any reach. You never asked for applause, you just wanted to feel like you were seen. I want you to know today that I have never taken my eyes off you, not for a second. While others passed over your contributions, I watched every detail. I witnessed your sacrifices. I recorded the moments you gave when you had little left to offer. And now, the time has come where you will no longer have to try to be noticed. I am the one who lifts. I am the one who promotes. I am the one who opens the eyes of others to what I've already declared about you. You will not have to explain your worth. You will not have to chase validation. I'm bringing people into your life who will recognize your authenticity without you having to perform. They won't need convincing. They will see what I placed in you clearly, because their hearts will be aligned with my perspective. The days of having to justify your gifts are over. You won't need to force a seat at the table. I'm preparing one specifically for you, and no one else can take your place. This is not about ego. This is about visibility born from obedience. You allowed me to develop your character when no one else was clapping. You trusted me to build something lasting when it seemed like no one was paying attention. And now, as I lift you, it will not be a sudden rise fueled by ambition. It will be a steady unveiling that reflects the integrity you've carried all along. You'll be placed in rooms not because you shouted your way in, but because you remained faithful when there was no audience. As you begin to rise, stay grounded in what I've taught you in the hidden places. You don't need to prove anything. Just be who I formed you to be. You don't need to diminish your light to make others comfortable. Shine with humility. Lead with love. Speak with clarity. Let the elevation I bring be used to serve, not dominate. The weight of visibility will not crush you because your roots go deep. You are not lifted by men, you are being lifted by me. You're not being pushed ahead of schedule. This is not forced, it's formed. Formed through pressure. Formed through process. Formed through the long stretch of time where you walked alone, still believing. I am not just lifting your name, I'm lifting the essence of who you are. I am raising up your voice, your presence, your calling, not for show, but for impact. What you've learned in stillness will now shape others in their own journey. Walk confidently into this new space. You are not an imposter. You are not taking someone else's place. You are exactly where you're meant to be. And when others ask how it all shifted, you'll be able to point to me and say, the one who saw me when no one else did, he lifted me. You have faced seasons where everything felt like resistance. Progress came slowly, if at all. Every step forward felt like pushing through invisible force, and no matter how much strength you mustered, you were met with more opposition. Doors took longer to open. Conversations felt harder to initiate. Even within, there were doubts pressing against your confidence. It wasn't always dramatic, sometimes it was the constant pressure of things just not moving, like something unseen was working against your motion. And still, you stayed. You stood. You remained grounded in me, even when it didn't make sense to your surroundings. What once worked to slow you is about to shift and serve you. The winds that oppose your journey are now being redirected not against you, but for you. The very resistance that tried to drain your strength will now become momentum that lifts your steps. You are not only stepping into favor, You are being propelled by it. This is not your imagination. This is divine reversal in action. The atmosphere around you is changing because I have issued a command. What hindered you before is now part of what's going to move you faster, further, and deeper into where I have called you to go. This isn't about struggle anymore. It's about movement. And not movement driven by your own effort, but by my hand. What used to take months will happen in moments. What used to require repeated attempts will come together with ease. You'll notice it in how conversations shift. You'll feel it when you wake up in the morning with clarity that used to take days to arrive. You'll see it when things you once had to push open begin to respond without force. It will feel like something is carrying you, and that something is me. I never intended for the wind to destroy you. It was allowed to strengthen your stance, to shape your focus, and to build resilience in your spirit. But now, I release it as your guide. I'm not removing the wind, I'm repositioning it. Just as I commanded the winds and the storm to be still, I now speak to what's been pressing against you and tell it to shift direction. From now on, you will sail, not struggle. You won't need to look over your shoulder for what's coming next. You'll be too focused on the acceleration ahead. You're being lifted, not dragged. You're being led, not pushed. And with every forward movement, you'll begin to understand why the delays, the blocks, the tensions, all of them were temporary and purposeful. They had their season. That season is over. Do not hesitate when you feel the pace change. It is not instability, it is breakthrough. You've already been prepared for this. The long nights, the silent prayers, the persistence when no one saw. All of it was preparation for forward motion that cannot be reversed. And I am not only shifting the wind, I am shifting your awareness. You will begin to think differently, speak differently, and move with a grace that doesn't come from effort, but from alignment. Let go of the memory of resistance. It taught you, but it no longer defines you. Let go of the fear that says the wind might turn again. I am the one who holds the wind. I am the one who breathes on the sails. And I say, go. Not with hesitation, but with confidence. Not as someone trying to force movement, but as one who is finally being carried by the momentum I designed all along. You have been misunderstood by people who never took time to see beyond their assumptions. They made conclusions about your intentions without knowing your heart. They watched your struggle and used it as evidence against your worth. They saw you go through hard moments and thought it was failure, not refinement. Words were spoken, not always to your face, but behind closed doors and within hearts that never truly sought to understand you. You didn't fight back, you chose to keep walking. You didn't try to correct every opinion, you trusted that time and truth would eventually speak. And now, I am revealing my favor on your life where it cannot be hidden. I am not doing this for revenge. I am doing it for clarity. The same people who questioned your direction will now witness your steps being guided with purpose. The same people who doubted your ability will now see the fruit that I bring forth from your obedience. This blessing is not about proving yourself to anyone, it's about fulfilling what I have spoken over you, in plain sight. You will no longer be misjudged through the lens of what you've been through. You will be seen through the lens of what I am doing in you now. I have chosen this season not to restore you quietly, but to honor you publicly, not to elevate you for attention, but to establish what I've been forming all along. There is no need to explain how you got here. I will make it clear. You don't have to announce what's happening. My work in you will speak louder than any defense ever could. And those who once looked down on your process will begin to look up, not at you, but at what I've done through you. Let this not change your heart toward those who misunderstood you. Keep it soft. Let grace continue to guide how you respond. They didn't know what you carried. They couldn't see what I was forming in you. And though it hurt to be mislabeled, you didn't let it become bitterness. That is why I trust you with this level of blessing. Because you didn't chase vindication, you pursued me. Now I will prepare a table, not in a secret place, but in the presence of those who once thought you had nothing to offer. They won't understand how it happened, but they will recognize that it could not have come from anywhere else but my hand. This is not to shame them. It's to reveal my faithfulness. You stayed the course when no one else could see where it was leading. You believed when belief looked foolish. You chose to love when you had the right to be angry. And now, I place you in view not for status, but for testimony. You not shrink when the light begins to shine. You've hidden long enough. You stayed faithful in the quiet. Now I want you to carry this blessing with peace, not pride. With humility, not hesitation. What I've placed on your life is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is not dependent on who approves of it. It comes from me, and because of that, it will remain even when others shift. Let them see what I've done. Let them watch the transformation. Let them witness how I take what the world misjudges and turn it into evidence of grace. You will not need to respond to every whisper, because the work I am doing will speak in places your voice never reached. This is how I bless with mercy, with power, and with purpose. And now, I bless you not behind the curtain, but in full view. You've walked through long stretches of time where the silence felt endless. You watched others receive answers while your own prayers echoed back without reply. You showed up each day believing, even when the waiting became difficult to endure. You counted the days, the seasons, the sacrifices, trying to find meaning in the pauses. There were times you told yourself not to get your hopes up, just in case the waiting continued. Still, you held on to a quiet hope that something was being worked out behind the scenes. You trusted me, but the stretch between promise and fulfillment caused your heart to ache. Now you will begin to see why I made you wait. The delay wasn't denial, it was protection, preparation, and alignment. What I was shipping in the unseen could not be right. I wasn't just working on the situation, you were part of the work. I was developing you while I was developing the answer. The timing had to be exact so the moment wouldn't just arrive, it would last. What you're walking into isn't temporary, it's sustainable. It's going to make sense in a way that no explanation ever could have given you during the wait. You'll look back on the seasons of silence and see them differently. You'll recognize the ways I held you in place, not to withhold from you, but to protect what was too precious to mishandle. There were things you prayed for that I couldn't give yet, not because I didn't want to bless you, but because I needed to finish refining what would support the blessing. I know how difficult it was to walk by faith when you couldn't see the reason for the wait. I saw your tears. I heard your whispers. I watched you wrestle with hope and doubt at the same time, and I never turned away. I'm not embarrassed by your questions. I'm not disappointed that you wondered. I understand how human it is to grow weary in the waiting. But I want you to know that not one moment of delay was wasted. Every hour of trust, every step of obedience, every tear in the quiet, all of it was building something strong in you that could only come through time. I am not interested in rushed outcomes. I build deeply, intentionally, and permanently. Now the moment has arrived where the alignment is complete. What I am doing will not need to be fixed after it comes. It will fit you, sustain you, and stretch you without breaking you. And you will feel it not only in your surroundings, but in your spirit. The timing will settle something in you that was previously restless. The doors will open not because of force, but because the lock has been removed at the perfect moment. The people I'm connecting you with are arriving on schedule. The opportunities unfolding are appearing when your heart is finally ready to handle them. Let go of the belief that it should have happened sooner. You didn't miss it. You didn't fall behind. You're not making up for lost time. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And when this blessing manifests, you'll know that no earlier moment would have been better than now. You'll see why I asked you to trust me, even when the calendar kept moving forward without evidence. I never forgot. I never paused my plan. I simply waited for the exact moment where everything would align, not just around you, but inside you. This is that moment. What once felt late will now feel perfect. What once made you anxious will now bring you peace. And what you thought had passed you by is now standing at your door, right on time. You've accomplished things that others admire. You've achieved what you once prayed for. You've climbed certain hills and stood in places that once felt unreachable. On the outside, it may look like you should feel fulfilled. But somewhere inside, there is still a quiet space that remains untouched by all that has been gained. You've smiled through milestones while sensing there was more. Not more in the sense of ambition or striving, but something deeper, something missing that no amount of recognition, completion, or applause could ever resolve. What you are experiencing is not a failure to be grateful, it's a signal from your spirit that you were made for more than just accomplishment. The longing you feel is not something to hide. It's something I placed there, so you would return to me not only in moments of need, but also in moments of abundance. When everything seems complete, and yet something inside still feels incomplete, that is where I begin to pour a fullness that only comes from my presence. I see that space in you, the one that no achievement can touch, the one that still whispers at night when the noise fades. I don't judge you, I meet it. I created you with a heart that thrives not on worldly completion, but divine connection. Even your greatest accomplishments were never meant to replace intimacy with me. I rejoice with you when you celebrate your victories, but I also long to be invited into the quiet that follows them. Because even then, especially then, I have something to give you. You've been faithful through delay. You've been courageous through setbacks. But now that things are beginning to unfold in your favor, I want to go even deeper. I don't want your heart to settle for surface peace. I want you to encounter the depth of joy that doesn't require performance, planning, or striving. I want to show you that what I give satisfies the soul in a way no moment, no platform, no success ever could. You don't have to abandon what you've built to receive this. You just have to open your heart again, not for more things, but for more of me. Let me into the places you didn't realize needed filling, the rooms you thought were already complete, the corners of your heart that have grown quiet, not because they are content, but because they've stopped hoping to be filled. Let me meet you there. Let me sit with you in the silence behind the success. Let me restore wonder, not because you failed to live well, but because you succeeded without forgetting that your spirit still longs to feel me close. You are not ungrateful. You are simply ready to go deeper. And I welcome that. I bless that. I honor that. As I begin to fill you in this new way, you'll start to sense a richness in simple moments, a sweetness in stillness, a rest that no schedule could offer. You'll no longer feel the urge to constantly seek what's next. You'll feel content, not because you stopped growing, but because you finally come home into the part of my presence that doesn't need a reason to pour out love. It simply does. This is the kind of blessing that doesn't arrive with sound or spotlight. It enters quietly and transforms everything. It reorders your joy. It recalibrates your peace. It renews your strength not for the next task, but for the stillness that reminds you that being with me is the greatest reward of all. To rest. Not because you're done, but because you finally reached the part of the journey where fullness no longer depends on what you achieve. It flows from who I am and who you are with me. For too long, your days have felt like a constant race, one obligation pressing into the next. You've moved from one season into another without pause, managing responsibilities, expectations, and emotional demands that have stretched you thin. Even in moments of stillness, your mind hasn't stopped moving. You've gone to sleep tired and woken up already feeling behind. You've told yourself this is just how life works now, that the rhythm you're in, rushed, reactive, relentless, is something you simply have to endure. But I never created you to live in cycles that leave your soul worn out. What you've been calling normal, I am now interrupting with restoration. I am not asking you to give up your responsibilities, I am asking you to return to alignment, to return to a pace that honors your spirit, to walk, not just run, to breathe and not just survive. I am restoring the rhythm of your life not by removing what matters, but by rearranging what's been stealing your peace. There is a divine order I am bringing back to your days, one that creates room for rest without guilt, one that allows space for reflection without fear of falling behind. You were not created to keep pushing until you collapse. You were not designed to prove your worth through non-stop productivity. Even in creation, I established a rhythm: light and dark, work and rest, movement and pause. That rhythm wasn't just for the world, it was for you. And when you return to it, you'll find parts of yourself you forgot were missing. You'll remember what it feels like to breathe deeply again. You will feel your chest rise not with pressure, but with presence. This restoration will start quietly. It will come in subtle shifts, unexpected moments where you feel peace without needing explanation. The urge to rush will begin to fade. The need to always say yes will begin to quiet. Your spirit will start to recognize when it's time to pause, and you will no longer feel guilty for stepping back. You'll begin to see that rest is not retreat, it is renewal. I've built rest into your design, not as a luxury but as a necessity. You may notice me prompting you to change how you spend your hours. You may feel led to release things you once held tightly. You'll feel uncomfortable at first, slowing down often does. But as you trust me with your time, I'll give you back more than you thought you were losing. What you let go of will make room for something better: clarity, calm, and a deeper connection with me. You'll start living from a place of overflow instead of depletion. There is strength in your stillness. There is wisdom in your waiting. There is healing in your slowing down. And as your rhythm shifts, so will your sensitivity to my voice. You'll hear me more clearly, not because I'm speaking louder, but because you're finally quiet enough to listen. You'll begin to distinguish between what feels urgent and what is truly important. And that discernment will guide you into decisions that bless not just your schedule, but your soul. Let this be the moment where the pace changes, not by force but by your ace. Let this be the day you choose alignment over exhaustion. I will walk with you not just in moments of purpose, but in the spaces between. The pauses, the quiet mornings, the unhurried nights. Those will become sacred again. You do not need to earn this restoration. I'm giving it freely because I love you, because I see you, because I want you to experience joy that doesn't depend on what you produce. I am restoring your rhythm not just for your health, but for your wholeness. You've walked through seasons where the path ahead was hard to see. You tried to make the best decisions with what you had, but no matter how carefully you considered your steps, uncertainty lingered. You prayed, waited, and listened, but the direction still felt foggy. You took small steps forward, hoping they were right, even while part of you wondered if you were moving in circles. You sought signs, confirmation, and reassurance, but the answers didn't always arrive when you expected them to. And so, you carried on, faithfully, yet with questions still pressing quietly in the back of your mind. Now I am clearing what has been clouding your view. Where there once was confusion, I am bringing clarity not from outside sources, but from deep within your spirit. This clarity will arrive with a shout or a flashing light. It will rise slowly, gently, like sunlight breaking through the haze. It will settle over your thoughts, silencing the noise of indecision. You'll begin to notice it in the way peace accompanies your next steps, even before the full picture is revealed. I'm not showing you everything at once, I'm giving you just enough to move forward, without fear. You've been trying to do the right thing, not for recognition, but because you long to follow me with sincerity. That has not gone unnoticed. Your desire to please me has kept you steady when your emotions tried to waver. Your willingness to wait on my timing, even when others rushed ahead, has opened a space for me to move in a new way. I am not hiding direction from you, I've been preparing your heart to receive it with understanding, so that once it comes, you'll walk in it with confidence. This next level of clarity is going to affect more than one area of your life. It will touch your relationships, your work, your timing, your energy, and even the way you manage your thoughts. Where once you hesitated, you will now walk with purpose. Where once you second-guessed, you will now feel a steady assurance. Where once you asked, "What if?" you will now say, "This is the way." This is not just a moment of direction, it's a shift into alignment with what I've been preparing all along. Don't be surprised when things start to make sense. Conversations that once confused you, circumstances that once frustrated you, doors that once refused to open. What was once unclear is now being placed into order. I have been silent, I've been aligning the timing. And now, as the noise quiets and your spirit listens, you will recognize my guidance in ways you couldn't have understood before. This clarity will not create pressure, it will bring relief. You won't have to chase it. You won't have to analyze endlessly. You'll simply know. I am giving you the kind of clarity that doesn't need to be defended to others. It will be planted so deeply within you that their opinions will no longer create hesitation. You won't move forward out of fear or urgency, you'll move with calm obedience, knowing I've gone before you. What's coming next will require decision. And for that, I am preparing your discernment. You won't need to rely on signs to believe your intimacy with me will become the source of your confidence. You will know what to do because you'll know who you're walking with. And that will be enough. The fog is lifting. The silence is shifting. The way is being made clear not through your striving, but through my spirit guiding you step by step. Let your mind rest. Let your heart be still. You are not lost, and you never were. You are being led every moment, every step, every decision. And now, you will begin to see it for yourself. Amen.